Hey everybody, it's the Honey Badger here, and I think it's time for us to install an intake on the Polestar. Let's give it a shot.
So here's everything that came with the packaging. We have the box for the new intake and the lid that goes to it. We have the filter with a ring, or with a clamp ring. We have where the intake's gonna go into the new box and the new filter. And that's gonna go to the existing part of the engine and join up together. We have a little bit of hardware that's included. They also sent a sticker, an air freshener, and a keychain. And we got some nice instructions included as well, telling you what it should have came with. And we got photos of the install. So I don't think this is gonna be too difficult. We'll just start taking out the old intake. We're gonna put this one in its place, and that should be, honestly, just about it. And then we can see how it sounds. So to start things out, you're gonna wanna grab yourself a 7mm socket and start working on disconnecting the intake tube from the box itself. Disconnect that, pull it apart, and just kind of let that lay loose while we move on to the next part. From there, you're going to want to get yourself a T15 Torx and undo yourself the mass airflow sensor. Get that disconnected from it so we can get that removed. If you don't have yourself a clip remover, get yourself one. They're very handy. We're going to use that to get the clips that hold these wires on the side of the intake box disconnected so we can easily keep the wires in place and remove the box as we uninstall it. Pull up on it and it will pop out and away from the vehicle. There will still be some clips that you couldn't get to, but now we're just going to go ahead and use that clip remover again to get them disconnected from the box, because those need to obviously stay in the engine bay, and we'll get that box out of here. Pull the rubber piece down out from below that it was clipped into, because we're going to re-situate that now on the intake box, as it will be reused for where it sits down below in the engine bay. Disconnect the one bolt down low that is holding a ground to the engine. We're going to remove that for now as we put the box in place, as that helps hold it in place in a moment. Now it's tricky to get to, so we're going to move the camera to show the angle of where that box sits and where that bolt is actually going to screw in. So it's really narrow here to see where it's at, but you'll obviously know what clip that is. And then when you put this back on, make sure that you have the ground wire underneath it, because you still need to be grounding it to the chassis, and make sure that you screw in this bolt all of the way. If you do not, then your power steering will not have a ground and you will lose your power steering, which is electrically assisted and almost impossible to move otherwise. Next, get yourself that mass airflow sensor disconnected and run the cable through the box. There's a square hole that it comes through. Then get the new intake tube fed through the hole as well, and get that lightly mounted up to where the existing tube from the engine is. We can now re-plug in our mass airflow sensor and get that set into the new tube itself and get that screwed into place, as that's where it's going to need to be. Next, we'll get the filter and we'll get that into place on the tube, and then we will screw it down as well. Next, get the tube and the filter at the angle you want and then secure it to the tube from the engine. Then get the cover and put it onto the intake box to clean things up, and let's hear the before and after of what it sounds like.
All right, so we're inside. We do have the intake installed. The before and after in the video, I think the big thing is you hear way more engine sounds. A little bit more supercharger from the outside too, but way more engine sounds compared from stock. So it makes it sound a little bit more meaty. I mean, as meaty as a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine can sound in terms of meatiness. The big difference though on the inside of the vehicle is things stay pretty much about the same. You do get a little bit more engine from inside the cabin of the vehicle, but for the most part, the big thing that you actually get is a way more supercharger whine. So you will hear way more of that whining sound when the supercharger is being used. So there it is, sitting up at 3,000 RPMs with the supercharger just sitting on a whine. We'll let it drag down. So I'll see how much you can hear that, but obviously you hear that supercharger a lot more. Now this time I'll take it out of sport, that way we get the exhaust valves closed. And this time, the next time we take off and we move from the stoplight, we'll see what it sounds like just in normal driving. So I have everything turned off in here, nothing on. So hopefully I'll punch it up in post if the audio is a little bit low to kind of make it sound a little bit more reflective of what it actually sounds like. But let's see what it sounds like just kind of driving normal, taking off from a stoplight. So there we go. You do get a little bit more sound. It's not very, like, it's not super loud. It's not supposed to be. It's just an intake. It's not obviously a full exhaust. On obviously the V60 Polestar, you just drop that thing into sport mode, get those exhaust valves opened if you really want to hear more exhaust. So nothing too crazy. I do think it sounds a lot nicer. I do like hearing a little bit more of that supercharger whine, and I do like that you get a bit more engine sound in general. So overall, for the price, I do actually think that this mod's fantastic. There are other intakes on the market for this engine. They are all very expensive. This is the only one I found that I thought was way more, it was just priced better. I think for what you get and the quality, I think it's worth it. So check out the links in the description. Other than that though, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one.